and continuing to read this nectarian Caitanya Caritamrta, and we've reached the 10th chapter. We've come through from the spiritual masters, the foundation, and then Mahaprabhu as Swayam Bhagavan, and then the external reasons, chapter 3, the internal reasons, chapter 4, then Nityananda, Advaita Acharya, then the Panchatattva, and then what's after that? Oh, and then the pastime of Krishna's Kaviraj receiving the order from Madan Mohan, and then the tree of devotional service, the analogous tree, and now the trunk, branches, and sub-branches. So it's all the different devotees that we're going through. Very ecstatic chapter. Agyan Timirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Guruve Gaurachandraya Radhikaya Tiralaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tarabhaktaya Namo Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Shtapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Adadanastranam Drantiya Idam Yache Puna Puna Srimad Rupa Padambojo Dulisham Janma Janmani Priya Sarupe, Daita Sarupe, Prema Sarupe, Sahajavi Rupe, Nijana Rupe, Prabhuveka Rupe, Tatana Rupe, Swavala Sarupe. Anapita Chirim Chirat, Kurunai Varatino Kalo, Samarpaitam Unnata Ujvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam, Hari Purata Sundarata Dikatam Vasadipita, Sada Kradare Kandare Spuratu Vasachinandana. Yam Pravajantam Anapetyam Apeti Krityam Dvaipaino Viraha Katara Ajuhava Putre Titam Mayatayo Taravo Vinedustam Sarvabhutam Hridim Munimaratoshmi Bhaktya Vihina Aparada Lakshay Shiptascha Karmadi Tarangamadye Kripa Maitvam Sharanam Prapana Vrinde Namaste Charanara Vindam Bhajami Radham Aravinda Netram Smarami Radham Madhurashmitasyam Vadami Radham Karuna Varadram Tato Mamasti Gatimakapi Tavaivasmi Najivami Tvaivina Iti Vignaya Radhe Tvam Nairam Charanantikam. I'm first of all offering millions of Dandavat pranams unto the lotus feet of my beloved Gurudev, Nitya-lila Pravishta Om, Asto Tarasara Shishimat, Srila Bhaktivedanta Narayan Goswami Maharaj. And I'm offering the same again, millions of times, unto the lotus feet of our dearmost Nitya-lila Pravishta Om, Asto Tarasara Shishimat, Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. And unto our dearmost Srila Krishna's Kaviraj Goswami, and unto all our Rupanuga Guru Varg, and all the Vaishnava and Vaishnavi devotees of the Lord, my Dandavat pranams to all of you. Vansha kalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindhavevacha patitanam pavnebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So we've reached text 40 of chapter 20, the branches of the Caitanya tree. Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Shri Advaita Jaya Chandra Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Mukunda Data Saka Prabhu Samadhyai Yanra Kirtana Chaitanya Goshani. Translation. Mukunda Datta, a class friend of Lord Chaitanya's, was another branch of the Caitanya tree. Lord Chaitanya danced while he sang. Purport. Sri Mukunda Datta was born in the Chittagram district in the village of Chandhara, which is under the jurisdiction of the police station named Patia. This village is situated 10 kroshas, about 20 miles, from the home of Pundarik Vidyanidhi. In the Gaura Ganesh Deepika 140 it is said, Vrajesh tato gayako yo madhukanta madhubrato Mukunda Vasudeva to dato Goranga Gayako. In Braj, there were two very nice singers, named Madhukanta and Madhubrat. They appeared in Caitanya Lila as Mukunda and Vasudev Datta, who were singers in the society of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Lord Chaitanya was a student, Mukunda Datta was his class friend, and they frequently engaged in logical arguments. Sometimes Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu would fight with Mukunda Datta using tricks of logic. This is described in Caitanya Bhagavat Adi-lila chapter 11 and 12. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned from Gaya, Mukunda Datta gave him pleasure by reciting verses from Srimad Bhagavatam about Krishna Lila. It was by his endeavor that Gadadhar Pandit Goswami became a disciple of Pundarik Vidyanidhi. As stated in Chaitanya Bhagavat Madhya chapter 7, when Mukunda Datta sang in the courtyard of Srivas Prabhu, Mahaprabhu danced with his singing, and when Lord Chaitanya for 21 hours exhibited his ecstatic manifestation known as Shata Paharya, Mukunda Datta inaugurated the function by singing. Sometimes Lord Chaitanya Prabhu chastised Mukunda Datta by calling him Kada Jatiya Beta, because he attended many functions held in different classes of non-devotees. This is stated in Chaitanya Bhagavat Madhya chapter 10, when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu dressed himself as the goddess of fortune to dance in the house of Chandrasekhar. Mukunda Datta began the first song. Before disclosing his desire to take the renounced order of life, Lord Chaitanya first went to the house of Mukunda Datta. But at that time, Mukunda Datta requested Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to continue his Sankirtan movement for a few more days before taking sannyas. This is stated in the Chaitanya Bhagavat Madhya chapter 26. The information of Lord Chaitanya's accepting the renounced order was made known to Gadadhar Pandit, Chandrasekhar Acharya, and Mukunda Datta by Nityananda Prabhu, and therefore all of them went to Katwa and arranged for kirtan and all the paraphernalia for Lord Chaitanya's acceptance of sannyas. This is such a big deal in the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When he took sannyas, it's equivalent to like Krishna leaving Vrindavan. When Krishna leaves Vrindavan, the Brijabasis just go into massive, tremendous separation mode for 100 years. It's devastating. The gopis in particular at Uddhav-kyari. What to speak of the Navadvip Basis when Mahaprabhu takes this sannyas vow, cuts off his beautiful hair. They are totally devastated. But Mukunda Datta and Chandrasekhar and Gadadhar Pandit and Nityananda, they were there at that time in Katwa, which is very close to, it's just across the river, because we know the pastime Mahaprabhu dives into that river, Ganga, in the cold month of Magh, leaving his mother and very young new wife behind. So it's a devastating pastime, and all the devotees were in complete drowning in pools of separation. After the Lord took sannyas, they all followed him, especially Lord Sri Nityananda Prabhu, Gadadhar Prabhu and Govinda, who followed him all the way to Purushottam Ketra. Also, Jagadananda Pandit, he is one of those who follows also to Puri. In this connection, one may refer to Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Antya-khand, chapter 2. In the place known as Jalashwar, Nityananda Prabhu broke the sannyas rod of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mukunda Datta was also present at that time. He went every year from Bengal to see Lord Chaitanya at Jagannath Puri. So Mukunda Datta is an extremely prominent personality, directly, in fact, coming from the apricot realm, Nitya Siddha Parika. All of these parikas are Nitya Siddhas, or they're coming from the celestial realms. None of them are ordinary people. Text 41. Vasudeva Datta Prabhu Britya Mahashay Sahasramukhe Yanra Guna Kahile Nahai. Translation. Vasudev Datta, the 19th branch of Sri Caitanya tree, was a great personality and a most confidential devotee of the Lord. One could not describe his qualities even with thousands of mouths. Purport. Vasudev Datta, the brother of Mukunda Datta, was also a resident of Chattagram. In the Chaitanya Bhagavat it is said, Yanra stane Krishna hoye apane vikraya. Vasudev Datta was such a powerful devotee that Krishna was purchased by him. Vasudev Datta stayed at Srivas Pandit's house, and in the Chaitanya Bhagavat it is described that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so pleased with Vasudev Datta and so affectionate towards him that he used to say, I am only Vasudev Datta's man. My body is only meant to please Vasudev Datta, and he can sell me anywhere. Thrice he vowed that this was a fact, and that no one should disbelieve these statements. All my dear devotees, he said, I tell you the truth, my body is especially meant for Vasudev Datta. Vasudev Datta initiated Sri Yadunandanacharya, the spiritual master of Raghunath Das, who later became Raghunath Das Goswami. It's also saying in other places that Yadunandanacharya was initiated by Advaita Acharya. So there's different descriptions of this. This will be found in the Caitanya Caritamrta Adi-lila 6th chapter, verse 161. Vasudev Datta spent money very liberally. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked Shivananda Sen to become his Sarakela, or secretary, in order to control his extravagant expenses. Vasudev Datta was so kind to the living entities that he wanted to take all their sinful reactions so that they might be delivered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is described in the 15th chapter of the Caitanya Caritamrita's Madhya-lila, verse 159 to 180. These references are wonderful. If we want to follow these references through, we can find descriptions of all these topics that we're discussing. But I'm just reading straight through at the moment just to familiarize ourselves and build the structure of this Caitanya Caritamrita, just to spend time with it and become familiar with this Caitanya Caritamrita, so gradually we will expand on it and dive more deeply into it. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anubhasya, there is a railway station named Purvasthali near Navadvip railway station, and about 1 mile away in a village known as Mamgachi, which is the birthplace of Vrindavan Das Thakur. There is presently a temple of Madan Gopal that was established by Vasudev Datta. The Gaudiya Math devotees have now taken charge of this temple, and the Seva Puja is going on very nicely. Every year, all the pilgrims on the Navadvip Parikrama visit Mamgachi. Since Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur inaugurated the Navadvip Parikrama function, the temple has been well managed. So we see that Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Goswami Maharaj, he was that person who carried on that tradition of the Navadvip Parikrama very vigorously. And then my Gurudev, he carried on that tradition after the passing of Srila Bhakti Pragyan Keshav Maharaj. So today, that this Navadvip Parikrama function is, actually there are many Navadvip Parikramas going on simultaneously, usually about 10 or 12 from different large mats. Sometimes they join together, but this is very inspiring for the devotees of Gauradham to have this opportunity to travel to all these places in the company of other devotees, hearing the various pastimes of all the Leela Stalis. So I hope all the devotees take full advantage and spend time on these Navadvip Parikramas. Very powerful sanskars are created. Text 42. Jagate yateka jiva tara papalana naraka pujite kahe jiva chadiyaya. Translation. Srila Srila Vasudev Datta Thakur wanted to suffer for the sinful activities of all the people of the world so that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu might deliver them. Text 43. Haridasa Thakur Sakar Adbhuta Charita Tina Laksha Nama Tenho Laina Apitita. Translation. The 20th branch of the Chaitanya tree was Haridas Thakur. His character was wonderful. He used to chant the holy name of Krishna 300,000 times a day without fail. Certainly, purport, certainly the chanting of 300,000 holy names of the Lord is wonderful. No ordinary person can chant so many names, nor should one artificially imitate Haridas Thakur's behavior. It is essential, however, that everyone fulfill a specific vow to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. These are the instructions of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, Srinivasacharya in his Sat Goswami Astakam, Sanka Purvaka Nama Gana Nati B, is saying there in his the Sat Goswami Astakam, this Sankhya Purva Nama Gana Nati B, we should chant a fixed number of rounds. Therefore, we have described in our society that all our students must chant at least 16 rounds daily. I was listening to an audio by Srimati Radharani Didi today, and she was explaining how my Gurudev, Srila Bhaktivedanta Ryan Maharaj, was saying how ISKCON is completely a universal society. Who is the Adi Guru of ISKCON? It's Lord Brahma. So who is the Adi Guru of all the Gaudiya Maths? It's the same personality, it's the same line. Then from Lord Brahma comes Narad, and from Narad comes Vasudev, from Vasudev comes Sutta Goswami. So all the way down our line. So we all have the same Adi Guru, it's the same lineage, it's the same, my Gurudev used to say, the same wine in different bottles. So we should never entertain this sectarian mood. We must overcome this sectarian mood. If another society is not prepared to overcome that sectarian mood, we should see it's their problem, but we should never make it our problem. We should always be liberally open-minded to all followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Rupa and Raghunath. This is our fixed purpose in this short, brief birth. Otherwise, we're not going to get the full energy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu was not discriminating between anyone. So how absurd for us to discriminate. So we should endeavor to purify any sectarian thoughts that manifest. So, yes, still reading here. Therefore, we have prescribed in our society that all our students must chant at least 16 rounds daily. Such chanting must be offenseless in order to be of high quality. Mechanical chanting is not as powerful as chanting of the holy name without offenses. We must be very aware of this mechanical chanting. I think all of us are subject to this at different periods of time, but we have to constantly be reining ourselves in and stopping ourselves from going into that robotic type of chanting. There's a description of Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur by one sannyasi who was living next door to him, and he used to listen to Bhaktivinoda Thakur chant on his mala, and he would chant very, very loudly, as if he was talking directly, addressing directly Krishna and Radha, very loudly. My Gurudev has said that sometimes we'll chant loudly and sometimes we'll chant softly, depending on the circumstances. But nevertheless, we've been through the offenses in chapter 8. It was very clearly described, the different offenses. So this is a very important part, and this is a description of Haridas Thakur, who is the Namacharya. So it's pertinent for us to discuss this aspect now.
Mechanical chanting is not as powerful as chanting of the holy name without offenses. It is stated in the Caitanya Caritamrta Adi-lila chapter 2, Chaitanya Bhagavatam, Adi-lila chapter 2, that Haridas Thakur was born in a village known as Budana. But after some time, he came to live on the bank of the Ganges in Fulia, near Shantipur. There's other descriptions of him being born in what is now Bangladesh. When you cross over the border of Bangladesh, just right there, there's a very small, like a temple, commemorating the birth of Haridas Thakur. From the description of his chastisement by a Muslim magistrate, it is found in the 16th chapter of Adi-lila of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat. We can understand how humble and meek Haridas Thakur was, and how he achieved the causeless mercy of the Lord. We know this pastime, dramatic pastime, where the locals complained to the Qazi about a Muslim, Haridas Thakur, taking shelter of the Hindu names, and took him to the court and ordered that he be beaten in 22 marketplaces by the servants of the Qazi. And such an amazing pastime. Haridas Thakur did not stop chanting for a moment. And then at one point after the 22nd marketplace, practically there was nothing left on his back where they had been beating him. And he turned to his jailers who were beating him and saying, "What is it you want? I'm just going to keep chanting Hare Krishna forever." And they said, "Well, if you don't die, the Qazi is going to kill us for not killing you." So then immediately Haridas Thakur felt compassion in that situation and tolerance for these chastisers, these people who are beating him. So he immediately invoked a yogic samadhi state of consciousness and just passed out. And they could detect no life air coming from him. And they determined that he was dead. He'd left his body. So then they threw. Was immediately revived. All his wounds were immediately healed. And he came up on the banks of the Ganga in Shantipur, right beside where Advaita Acharya's place is. And then he came out again chanting Hare Krishna. And when the locals saw this, they were just amazed. And of course then they considered him an absolute saint. And the Qazi comes and he apologizes and so on. But these are incredible pastimes of Haridas Thakur. In the dramas performed by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Haridas Thakur played the part of a police chief while chanting the Hare Krishna mantra in Benapal. He was personally tested by Maya Devi herself. Twice he was tested. Ramchandra Khan also sent a prostitute to the forest where Haridas was residing and tried to seduce him with the prostitute. And Haridas convinced that prostitute to take to the chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra, which was remarkable. And then he stays for 3 days. 3 nights that prostitute comes, and for 3 nights Haridas is chanting very loudly. And in the end she comes and she completely surrenders to Haridas, who instructs her, "Go back to your place, distribute all whatever you have, and come back and live in this hut. I've only stayed here for your benefit." She comes back and she stays there, and then people give her food. She shaves her head, etc. She'd been a prostitute, so everyone could see the remarkable transformation. In Bharatvash, this is easily digestible, because Bharatvash, its nature is religious. There's this dharmic energy running through the whole land. So people immediately realized her change of heart and would bring her many offerings of foodstuffs. And then again, a second time, in Fulia itself, it's described that Maya Devi herself came to challenge Haridas Thakur's chastity. And she was a approaching him in all kinds of very affectionate, lured ways. And Haridas Thakur was so fixed in his chanting that he completely defeated Maya Devi. After 3 days, she also begged for initiation from him. So this is remarkable, this personality. His activities are just stupendous. And in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, which we've been repeatedly referring to, this description, both of these descriptions are described very clearly. Haridas Thakur's passing away is described in the Adi-lila of Sri Caitanya Caritamrta, 11th chapter. It is not definitely certain whether Sri Haridas Thakur appeared in the village named Burdan, that is the district of Khulna. Yes, because when you go across the Bangladesh border, there's his place of his birthplace is right there, which is not in the same place as Burdan. Formerly, this village is within the district of 24 Pargans within the Satakshira division. So it's not this. There's different descriptions here. Text 44.
Tanhararananta guna kahidin matra acharya goshani yanra bujaya shraddha patra.
Translation. There was no end to the transcendental qualities of Haridas Thakur. Here I mention but a fraction of his qualities. He was so exalted that Advaita Goswami, when performing the Shraddha ceremony of his father, offered him the plate first. We remember the pastime. There were many brahmanas. They came to the Shraddha ceremony. Advaita Acharya had thousands of Brahman followers. He is Mahavishnu himself, a greatly powerful, potent personality. And many Paka Brahmanas were attracted to him. Mostly Smarta Brahmins were attracted to him. And when it came time to offer the plate to the most qualified person amongst all these thousands of Brahmanas, Advaita Acharya goes outside the assembly, because Haridas Thakur was always too humble to come into the assembly where the Brahmanas were all seated. He comes outside the assembly with the plate and he gives the plate to Haridas Thakur. So the Brahmanas become really angry and they immediately left that place. All of them left. And then they had discussions amongst themselves and then they returned. And then they offered their obeisances to Advaita Acharya and said, whatever you have done is correct. And they acknowledged Advaita Acharya's transcendental vision of giving Haridas Thakur that plate. So very, very beautiful, beautiful pastimes of these great, great devotees. Unprecedented qualities in these devotees. Text 45.
Pralad samanatan ragunera taranga yavanatan tadanyeyo yanra nakika burabanga.
The waves of his good qualities are like those of Prahlad Maharaj. He's described as being Lord Brahma and Prahlad rolled into one. An advent of these two personalities, Prahlad and Lord Brahma. He did not even slightly raise an eyebrow when persecuted by the Muslim ruler. He tolerated, completely tolerated. It's not of this world, absolutely not of this world. Text 46.
Tenho siddhi paile tanra deha lana kola nichila Chaitanya Prabhu Mahakuta Haile.
Translation. After the passing away of Haridas Thakur, the Lord himself took his body on his lap and danced with it in great ecstasy. So this will all be described in future chapters here. Text 47.
Tanra Lila Vaniya Chena Vrindavandas Yabe Avishista Aye Kariba Prakash.
Translation. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur has vividly described the pastimes of Haridas Thakur in his Chaitanya Bhagavat. Whatever has remained undescribed, I shall try to explain later in this book. Text 48.
Tanra Upasaka Yata Kulina Gami Jana Satyaraja Adi Tanra Kripara Bhajana.
Translation. One sub-branch of Haridas Thakur consisted of the residents of Kulinyagram. The most important among them was Satyaraj Khan, or Satyaraj Vasu, who was a recipient of all the mercy of Haridas Thakur. Purport. Satyaraj Khan was the son of Gunaraj Khan and father of Ramananda Vasu. Haridas Thakur lived for some time during the Chaturmasya period in the village named Kulinyagram, where he chanted the holy name, the Hare Krishna mantra, and distributed his mercy to the descendants for the Jagannath deity during the Rath Yatra festival. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's answers to his inquiries about the duty of householder devotees are vividly described in the Madhya Lila, chapters 15 and 16. So 3 times, looks like Facebook's just gone due to poor wireless connection. The Facebook, oh no, it's come back. 3 times the devotees, Satyaraj Khan, 3 times asked the Lord, 3 consecutive years, about how the householder devotees should maintain and live their lives as followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. These are beautiful instructions. The village of Kulinyagram is situated 2 miles from the railway station named as Jogram on the New Cord line from Howrah to Bardwan. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very highly praised the people of Kulinyagram, and he stated that even a dog of Kulinyagram was very dear to him. Text 49. So the Facebook one is dying again.
Shri Murari Gupta Saka Premara Bandara Prabhu Hridayat Rava Suni Dainya Yanra.
Translation. Murari Gupta, the 21st branch of the tree of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, was a storehouse of love of Godhead. His great humility and meekness melted the heart of Lord Chaitanya. Purport. Sri Murari Gupta wrote a book called Sri Caitanya Caritamrta. He belonged to the Vaidya physician family of Srihatta, the paternal home of Lord Chaitanya, and later became a resident of Navadvip. In Srihatta, there are many devotees were there. Chiranjeev is another devotee there, Nirahari, Mukunda Shekhar, and Raghurananda Shekhar were there. Many devotees in Srihatta. He was among the elders of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Lord Chaitanya exhibited his Varaha form in the house of Murari Gupta, as described in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhyakan, 3rd chapter. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibited his Mahaprakash form, he appeared before Murari Gupta as Lord Ramchandra, because Murari Gupta actually is described as Hanuman in Ram Lila. And it's a beautiful pastime where Mahaprabhu is trying to help him understand that Krishna's pastimes are even superior to Ram's pastimes. And Murari Gupta becomes very restless in the evening, and he decides that he just wakes in the morning and decides he cannot come to Krishna, he cannot leave his Ram. And he finds a very sharp knife and puts it under his pillow and becomes ready to take his own life. So Facebook has just stopped completely. Shall I adjust it or just leave it? So Mahaprabhu, he knows that by his omniscience, and he chastises Murari Gupta and says, yes, you are made for Ram, you stay with Ram. So he pacifies him very beautifully. So Murari Gupta can't come across to the Krishna concept. He can't leave his heart from Lord Ram because he's Hanuman in Lord Ram's pastimes. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu were sitting together in the house of Srivas Thakur, Murari Gupta first offered his respects to Lord Chaitanya and then to Nityananda Prabhu. Nityananda Prabhu, however, was older than Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and therefore Lord Chaitanya remarked that Murari Gupta had violated social etiquette, for he should have first shown respect to Nityananda and then to him. In this way, by the grace of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Murari Gupta was informed about the position of Sri Nityananda Prabhu. And the next day, it's described that he has a very wonderful dream, and in the dream that night, he sees the magnificence of Nityananda Prabhu. So in the morning, it's described here, the next day, he offered obeisances first to Lord Nityananda and then to Lord Chaitanya. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave chewed pan and betel nut to Murari Gupta. Once Shivananda Sen offered food to Lord Chaitanya that had been cooked with excessive ghee, and the next day the Lord became sick and went to Murari Gupta for treatment. Lord Chaitanya accepted some water from the water pot of Murari Gupta, and thus he was cured. The natural remedy for indigestion is to drink a little water, and since Murari Gupta was a physician, he gave the Lord some drinking water and cured him. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in the house of Srivas Thakur in his Chatabhuj Murti, Murari Gupta became his carrier in the form of Garuda, and in these pastimes of ecstasy the Lord then got up on his back. It was the desire of Murari Gupta to leave his body before the disappearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but the Lord forbade him to do so. This is described in the Chaitanya Bhagavat, Madhya Kand, chapter 20, when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu one day appeared in ecstasy as the Varaha Murti. Murari Gupta offered him prayers. He was a great devotee of Lord Ramchandra, and his staunch devotion is vividly described in Caitanya Caritamrta Adi-lila 15th chapter, verse 107, 137, 157. So all these references can be acknowledged in future when we're desiring to suddenly go to some particular point of the pastimes. We can look back through this chapter 10, and appreciate where all these references are that are being made here. Text 50.
Pratigraha nahi kara nalai karadan Atmavriti kare kare kutumba baran.
Translation. Srila Murari Gupta never accepted charity from friends, nor did he accept money from anyone. He practiced as a physician and maintained his family with his earnings. Purport. It should be noted that a Grihastha household must not make his livelihood by begging from anyone. Every householder of the higher caste should engage himself in his own occupational duty as a Brahmin, Kshatriya or Vaishya. He should not engage in the service of others, for this is the duty of a Sudra. One should simply accept whatever he earns by his own profession. Okay. Now, YouTube is in, both are in mobile data. Let's see if this works. You can tell me if it works. I'll just continue reading. Okay. So we're describing Gadadhar Das, and he was a follower of his eternal Swarup is that of a gopi as well as a cowherd boy of Balaram. So in 1512, when Lord Nityananda Prabhu was empowered by Lord Chaitanya to preach the Sankirtan movement in Bengal, Sri Gadadhar Das was one of Lord Nityananda's chief assistants. He preached the Sankirtan movement by requesting everyone to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. This simple preaching method of Sri Gadadhar Das can be followed by anyone and everyone in any position of society. One must simply be a sincere and serious servant of Nityananda Prabhu and preach this cult door to door. When Srila Gadadhar Das Prabhu was preaching the cult of Hari Kirtan, there was a magistrate who was very much against his Sankirtan movement. Following in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Srila Gadadhar Das one night went to the house of the Qazi and requested him to chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. The Qazi said, "All right, I shall chant the Hare Krishna mantra tomorrow." On hearing this, Srila Gadadhar Das began to dance and said, "Why tomorrow? You have already chanted the Hare Krishna mantra, so simply continue." In the Gauraganadish Deepika, verses 154 to 155, it is said, "Radha Vibhuti Rupe Ya Chandra Kanti Pura Vraje Sa Shri Gauranga Nikate Dasa Vamsyo Gadadhar Purananda Vraja Yasid Baladeva Priyangrani Sapi Karya Vasad Eva Ravishat Tam Gadadharam." Srila Gadadhar Das is considered to be a united form of Chandrakanti, who is the effulgence of Srimati Radharani, and Purananda, who is the foremost of Lord Balaram's very dear girlfriends. Sorry, I said previously was one of his cowherd boyfriends. No, one of Balaram's girlfriends. Thus, Srila Gadadhar Das Prabhu was one of the associates of both Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Nityananda Prabhu. Actually, you can go today to this place of Endi Yadaha, and you can see the place of Gadadhar. It's nicely maintained by one family. There's a large courtyard and many replicas of his being there, Gadadhar Das being there. Once while Sri Gadadhar Prabhu was returning to Bengal from Jagannath Puri with Nityananda Prabhu, he forgot himself and began talking very loudly as if he were a girl in Braj Bhumi selling yogurt. And Srila Nityananda Prabhu noted this. Another time, while absorbed in the ecstasy of the gopis, he carried a jug filled with Ganges water on his head as if he was selling milk. When Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in the house of Raghava Pandit, which is very close by this place, while going to Vrindavan, Gadadhar Das went to see him, and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was so glad that he put his foot on his head. When Gadadhar Das Prabhu was present in Edi Yadaha, he established a Balagopal Murti for worship there. Sri Madhava Ghosh performed a drama known as Dan Kand with the help of Sri Nityananda Prabhu and Sri Gadadhar Das. This is explained in Chaitanya Bhagavat, Adi-lila 5:318 to 394. The tomb, or samadhi, of Gadadhar Das Prabhu, which is in the village of Edi Yadaha, is under the control of the Samyogi Vaishnavas, and later under the direction of Siddha Bhagavan Das Babaji of Kalna. By his order, Sri Madhusudan Mullik, one of the members of the aristocratic Mullik family of the Narika Danga in Calcutta, established a Patavati monastery there in the Bengali year of 1849. He also arranged for the worship of a deity named Sri Radhakanta. His son, Balachandra Mullik, established Gaurnitai deities there in the Bengali year of 1312, which is 1905. Thus, on the throne of the temple are both Gaur Nityananda deities and Radha Krishna deities. Below the throne is a tablet with an inscription written in Sanskrit. In that temple, there is also a small deity of Lord Shiva as Gopishwara. This is all described on a stone by the side of the entrance door. So today, we went actually a few years ago to all these places, and it's very enlivening having this reference in the Caitanya Caritamrta. So all of you can remember at least where these references are, and when you get an opportunity, or you already had an opportunity, you can refresh the descriptions of these places by reading these descriptions by Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada in his purports here, very beautifully giving us clarification and proving the fidelity and reality of all these remarkable personalities who were with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Sankirtan. Text 54. Shivananda Sena Prabhu Britya Antaranga Prabhu Stane Yaite Saba Laina Yanra Sangha. Shivananda Sen, the 24th branch of the tree, was an extremely confidential servant of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Everyone who went to Jagannath Puri to visit Lord Chaitanya took shelter and guidance from Shivananda Sen. Text 55. Prativarsha Prabhu Gana Sangete Liyaya Nichale Chalena Pate Palana Karya. Translation. Every year he took a party of devotees from Bengal to Jagannath Puri to visit Lord Chaitanya. He maintained the entire party as they journeyed on the road. Text 56. Bhakte Kripa Karena Prabhu Etina Swarupe Sakshad Avesha Ara Avirbhava Rupe. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu bestows his causeless mercy upon his devotees in three features: his own direct appearance, Sakshat; his prowess within someone he empowers, Avesh; and his manifestation, Avirbhav. So Sakshat is direct, and the empowerment is Avesh. And when they take birth as that, with that potency, that is their Avirbhav, that is their birth. The Sakshat feature of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is his personal presence. That's having a spurti, Sakshat feature. Avesh refers to invested powers. We say Shaktya Avesh, the power coming from Shakti. But this is just Avesh. Like that is invested in Nakul Brahmachari. Avirbhav is a manifestation of the Lord that appears even though he is personally not present. For example, Sri Sachimata offered food at home to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although it was far away in Jagannath Puri, and when she opened her eyes after offering the food, she saw that he had actually been eaten by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Similarly, when Srivas Thakur performed Sankirtan, everyone felt the presence of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, even in his absence. This was another example of Avirbhav. Now we're going to discuss Nakul Brahmachari, so I won't do it separately. Text 57. Sakshate Sakale Bhakta Dega Nirvishesh Nakula Brahmachari Deha Prabhura Avesh. Translation. The appearance of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in every devotee's presence is called Shakshat. His appearance in Nakul Brahmachari as a symptom of special prowess is an example of Avesh. Text 58. Pradyumna Brahmachari Tanra Age Namachila Mnichangananda Nama Prabhu Pacheta Rakila. The former, Pradyumna Brahmachari, was given the name Nishingananda Brahmachari by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Text 59. Tanhate haile chandrer avirbhave anulokika ache prabhu ena aneka svabhave. Translation. In his body there were symptoms of Avirbhav. Such appearances are uncommon, but Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu displayed many such pastimes through his different features. In the purport, in the Gaura Ganadhesh Deepika 73-74, it is said that Nakul Brahmachari displayed the prowess, Avesh, and Pradyumna Brahmachari, the appearance, Avirbhav, of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There are many hundreds and thousands of devotees of Lord Chaitanya, among whom there are no special symptoms. But when a devotee of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, functions with specific prowess, he displays the feature called Avesh. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally spread the Sankirtan movement, and he advised all the inhabitants of Bharatvash to take up his cult and preach it all over the world. The visible bodily symptoms of devotees who follow such instructions are called Avesh. Srila Shivananda Sen observed such Avesh symptoms in Nakul Brahmachari, who displayed symptoms exactly like those of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. The Caitanya Caritamrta states that in the age of Kali, the only spiritual function is to broadcast the holy name of the Lord. But this function can be performed only by one who is actually empowered by Lord Krishna. The process by which a devotee is thus empowered is called Avesh, or sometimes it is called Shaktya Avesh. Pradumna Brahmachari was formerly a resident of a village known as Piyariganj in Kalna. There is a description of him in the Adi-lila of Sri Caitanya Caritamrta 2nd chapter and in the Antya Kand of Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat chapters 3 and 4. So we'll stop here today. I apologize for our breakdown in the internet, but what can I do? We are just trying to spread these glories as we're able to in the circumstances, and hope that they're accepted by the devotees. Jai. Caitanya Caritamrta ki jai. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaura Hari Bol, Go Premanandi, Hari Bol. Vanshakal. Tomorrow is Ekadashi. Vanshakal-patarubhyascha, kripa sindhavyevacha, patitanam pavnebhyo, vaishnavebhyo, namo namaha. Ekadashi here, anyway. It might be different in your respective countries. Hare Krishna, Dandavats.